Level 70, the Circus Trench. Taru is itching to share what appears to be good news. Good news. We've had a stroke of luck in our search for that beacon. Apparently our colleagues have stumbled across a hidden path leading down into the hollows around the base of the Crystal Tower. Path I doubt we'd ever have found had the Ironworks and the Suns not added to their numbers to the party. Thanks to them, we have eager eyes aplenty down there, checking under rocks and peering into every nook and cranny. Still, it sounds like there's a lot of ground to cover. We'd better go and give them a hand. Sounds like tedious work, but not as tedious as waiting around, I suppose. Exactly, so I was thinking we should go and lend a hand. The sooner we find this beacon, the sooner you can travel to wherever it is this mysterious voice is coming from. And the sooner we can work out how to help our friends. We have to find a way to wake them up, and before the Empire comes calling again, meaning we have no time to lose. There's a boat in North Silvertier waiting to ferry people to the site, so let's be on our way. New quest accepted me. Microphones. Okay, well, we are starting with Shadow. Finally. I was really hoping to finish all of our Eureka weapons before we started Shadowbringers, but given the time frame, without like rushing through it, we'd never really finish before before we have to like break for Christmas. And then like next thing you know, it's New Year's, and so I just kind of wanted to get started before that happens, because I don't think you can actually do the relic weapons for Shadowbringers until you've done some of the patch content, so it wouldn't be just the base game we'd have to get done. Have to progress somewhere through the patch material. Still have 5 Eureka weapons left to get. I've got 2 in the Hydatos phase. I can probably finish 1 tonight. And then 2 in Pyros and 1 in Pagos. We'll see how that all goes, but hopefully we'll finish those 5 before we finish the MSQ for Shadowbringers. Ambrose. Heading to the survey site, madam. It's on the eastern shore of the lake, and the swiftest way to get there is by boat. Take the boat to the survey site.
Look how many people there are! Should we get to it then? Pick up anything that seems the least bit device-like, and we'll make ourselves a pile.
If it looks like a device, pick it up.
Well, if it isn't the hero of the hour, maybe you'll change our look. We've found bugger all without you.
Biggs! Wedge!
Aye, aye. Well, we could hardly say no to a call for aid from the Scions.
I mean, I did save their life, didn't I?
Jesse called it the chief for some other business, so we'll be working twice as hard to make up for his not being here.
Thrice as hard, even.
Thank you, both of you. I'm sure we'll find that beacon in no time.
They have voice lines before? Because I don't remember them sounding like that. Be mistaken. I know they changed some of the voice actors after A Realm Reborn. I don't recall if they ever had voice lines anyway.
I'm not seeing anything out here. Do you reckon you could squeeze in there, Wedge?
Wedge yourself in there?
And get stuck halfway? No, thank you.
I could try if you like.
Kind of miss Tataru's Eastern outfit.
Tataru, no! We couldn't ask you to do that.
Oh, I'll be fine. This receptionist is not afraid to get her hands dirty.
Device-like.
Sorry, I meant to say, the scholars haven't finished their preliminary assessment of the site yet, so we're not supposed to venture too far in. What's that you got there? Now that looks promising.
Is that their logo?
Isn't that the Ironworks symbol? Counterfeiters?
Yeah, answers my question.
Now I have you.
You are right.
What's happening?
Stay with me. Focus on my voice. Let expanse contract. Eon become instant.
Wait, this must be it. The device. Oh, this is supposed to happen.
Throw wide the gates that we may pass.
Haven't seen any gates.
Safe journey, warrior of light. Find our friends and bring them home.
Falling. Peace.
It is a day for faded reunions.
For showing me the dawn's light will shine again.
Oh, do not look at me so.
You're slaves to a tyrant. There's no freedom in that.
This is one battle you cannot fight. Away with you.
Your spirited accounts always comes with welcome.
Flashback
We did
crystals.
everything right. Everything that was asked of us, and still it came to this.
Know what the hell's happening. Watching it. It's all set up. Anthelia?
Your time has not yet come.
No, the trailer didn't shed any light on what the hell was gonna happen either. Oreo. Warrior of Darkness. Pretty.
From
endless dreams I awake. Something vague, yet urgent, calls me to action once more.
Like teleported. That's the same guy from the very beginning of the game. Yeah.
Rare to meet someone out here who's not a peddler themselves. What brings you into the wilds this time of night?
Hey. Hey. You mean this time of night? Bright as day.
Well, if it ain't the oldest joke in the book. Me granddad, God's rest his soul, used to tell that one to the barman at kicking out time. And when, pray tell, did we last have a dark night? You rotten old drunk, you, he'd reply.
Dark night.
Over 100 bleeding years ago, that's when. You got that look down to a T. I'd almost think you meant it. Ah, got to you, did they? Poor beggar. That explains it then.
Couldn't hurt.
Well, I've roads to travel and wares to sell, but you'd best hurry along to the town nearby. Just head east through the trees and aim for the Shining Tower. You'll find the place soon enough. 'Tis the biggest settlement for malms around. Go on now, friend. They'll take good care of you in the Crystarium.
Okay. Area. Definitely not in Kansas anymore.
To dizzying heights it rises, the gleaming spire. Its tip threatening to pierce the blinding canopy. There, it will all begin anew. Between dark and light. The pure and the corrupt. The one true struggle.
Yeah, it's up and have a whole lot open. There was a cutscene. Said to go eat. Orvon. Norvrant. Lakeland. All amount. Be able to fly yet. Mount unavailable. Looks like we're going Just said head east through the trees to go this way. Yeah, we have to go. Any enemies? Yeah. Played through the whole thing as a black mage. Just needed something to get started with. Forgot what else.
Halt! Every face in this city I know. Yours, I do not. This is the threshold of the Crystarium, stranger, and I am its gatekeeper. If you would enter, you will answer my questions.
But they told me there'd be a quiz involved.
From where do you hail?
The
Do you take me for a fool? No such place exists.
Far away. Where else?
Had you given me an honest answer, I would not have barred your way. We care little here for a person's place of origin. But instead, you chose concealment. And I will not suffer you to pass.
If you don't let me pass, you might suffer.
That one had eaten. It must have gulped down the whole hand, ring and all.
Dead now. That was quick.
Everything all right, Captain?
Hell of a
Quite all right,
rash.
my lord. Just a stray sin eater, and a weak one at that.
I see. Weak or not, we should be on the lookout for more.
But the guy with the blue hand from the trailer.
But I see you've met my guest. I will escort her to the Crystarium myself, if you've no objections.
Another of your mysterious friends, is it? I should have known. Very well. I'll inform the others your guest is to be given the run of the city. Pray forgive my less than cordial welcome. May the rest of your stay with us be a pleasant one.
Hey.
Come with me. I will answer whatever questions you have when we are somewhere more private.
Idea. Planning to do.
Right then, before we plunge into the wheres and wherefores, let me first thank you for answering my summons. I had intended to bring you directly to my personal quarters, but I fear my aim was slightly off. That you are still able to make the crossing unharmed is a great relief.
Okay, so he's the one that brought me here.
And so, we come to the question of where. The realm in which you now find yourself belongs to one of the 13 reflections, or shards. The first, to be precise, even if its inhabitants are largely oblivious to the fact. As to wherefore, having been awarded the rather grandiose title of Crystal Exarch, I, in my capacity as caretaker of the Crystarium, Thought to seek the aid of you and your companions.
For the other scions, any idea how much trouble you've caused? We should find out if our friends are here first.
Ah, that is a question with no simple answer. But all shall be explained in due course, I promise you. Let us begin with the glaring skies up above. Here in the First, the world has been all but consumed by primordial light. It began a century ago, by this realm's reckoning. A luminous flood swallowing everything in its path. More than 9/10 of this star was lost.
Is it the light of destruction? Was that a Yu-Gi-Oh! GX plot?
And the fortunate few who survived are hounded by abominations born of that catastrophe even now.
Artorias.
Sin Eaters, we call them. The creature you saw earlier was one such monstrosity. It was to save the First from this menace that I learned to bridge the rift between worlds. That I might call upon the aid of the greatest of heroes. And though it meant depriving a world of its champion, I had to try, for in saving the First, you would bring salvation to the source as well.
So we're in like a whole different world now. It seemed like, but odd place to take it. Guess it'll make
But
sense.
what manner of host harangues his guests in the middle of the road? Let us continue our talk within the Crystarium.
Fighting the Empire. There's so much of our own world we haven't even been to yet.
Such a proud and vibrant city. The sole sanctuary for the living in a world all but resigned to oblivion. Each stone was laid with hope. The town itself a symbol, a monument to defiance in the face of death. No would-be hero could fail to answer its call. For who among us does not yearn for salvation?
Air Crystal. Or Rand. Our new city, a major city or a minor? Here we are. Welcome, my friend, to the Crystarium. Turkish Trench. Complete oak weapon. High level creative vibe is less than what. City of the First. The Crystal Exarch has a request for you. Now, a full and frank discussion in the privacy of my study would seem to be in order. But I think our conversation would be more meaningful were you first to gain a firmer grasp of the situation here. that end, I would like you to visit a few of the Crystarium's civic leaders and glean something of this world and its predicament. As you can see, this path will take you directly to the Aetheryte, a convenience with which I am sure you are only too familiar. Being the rightful object of my summoning spell, you should in theory be able to reach all the way back along your etheric trail and find a connection in the source, believe it or not. I strongly suggest you complete this attunement before venturing any further. Is he saying, oh, we can teleport back to where we came from? Gotta have an in-story explanation for it, right? After you have done so, walk up the steps next to the Aetheryte and head out to the left to arrive at Crystalline Mean. This is where you'll find our collective of crafters and gatherers, as well as their spokeswoman, Catless, one of the people I should like you to meet. Another is Morin. To reach him in his Cabinet of Curiosity, you'll want to avoid the aforementioned steps, take the exit on the left, and simply continue straight along and down until you come to the large doors at the end of the path. Third and final person I should like you to meet is Bragi, or man in charge of trade and distribution. He is to be found in the markets, which you can access from the opposite side of the Aetheryte block. Seeking out each of my colleagues, you will visit the major districts of the city and hopefully gain a feel for the place. I trust my directions were simple enough. Crystal clear, to the right and down the way down. No, I'm not going to say that. He might repeat them. Very good. I can see the layout of the Crystarium owes more to historic necessity than planning, but I'm sure you'll learn its twists and turns before long. In all honesty, the true challenge may be in finding the right way to approach its citizen. As you discovered during your encounter with the captain, people of this world are unaware of the existence of other stars and will struggle to accept the truth of your origin. That being the case, when they ask whence you hail, as they inevitably will, I suggest you claim to share a homeland with the Crystal Exarch. There is an unspoken rule here about peering too deeply into that particular mystery. Wild Rose Blue. When you finish making the rounds, pray meet me in a large courtyard in the center of town. Until then... Go tune to the Aetheryte. Test journal. By focusing your senses, you detect the flow of vastly distant currents of ether. Your connection to these energies is faint but stable and should allow teleportation to Aetherites in the source. Yeah, so we can go back home if it like makes sense. They don't want to cut any content off. It's just like in Heaven's Ward, whenever you're like supposed to be a fugitive, but they're like, well, you know, like not really advertised, so if you need to go back to the cities you're not supposed to be in, feel free. You're a wanted criminal and all, but yeah, you know, nobody's gonna stop you. Yeah, those. Rare to see a palace so well stocked with goods, isn't it? But not here. Going to guess you're new to our fair city. Well, for what it's worth, you've chosen a fine sanctuary. The Exarch can throw up a barrier if the Sin Eaters come knocking, so it's a damn sight safer in here than it is out there. Safer and more civilized, too, thanks to us in the Mean. We work together to procure materials and resources and craft the goods which make city life possible. This is the place to visit if you need a coat mended or a kettle forged. Are you our Geralt? Just don't go thinking it'll all be handed to you on a plate like those Yulmorian layabouts. Here in Crystarium, we work for a living. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that. Though I see you're no stranger to honest labor, you don't have that whiff of indolence about you like some folk I've met. Still, I can't quite pin down your profession. Where is it you're from? One of the Exarch's countrymen, you say. I see. Well then, I'll work twice as hard to make you feel welcome. Our city wouldn't even exist if it weren't for him, and any friend of his is a friend of ours. It's really quite incredible when you think about it. They say his grand magic summoned the Crystal Tower into existence, pulled the entire thing out of thin air. It wasn't long before droves of refugees began congregating around its base, desperate for shelter after losing their homes to the flood. And that's how the Crystarium began. At the Exarch's invitation, buildings started going up, and with the help of some curious relics brought forth from the tower, the place gradually expanded into the thriving metropolis you see today. The city stood here for decades now, yet the eldest among us swear the Exarch looked exactly the same as he did back then. He is indeed a man of many mysteries, but for all his secrecy, he has never yet let us down. So if he and you wish to remain silent about your shared homeland, then the folk here will respect your wish for privacy. I am, however, more than a little curious to see any crafting talent you might be hiding. If you've aught to contribute on that front, be sure to come back and visit once you've had the chance to settle in. Just ask for Catalyst, and I'll find you a niche here in the crystalline mean. You can help us keep the cogs of the city greased and turning. Your exchange with Catalyst has taught you about life in the Crystarium. You learned something. Here, or is that going to be downstairs? Access find me. Because most guards are below. Go with where they told us to go. The ball ticket. Doors. Moron. Excuse me, miss, are you recently come to the city perchance? I'm quite familiar with our civic roles, you see, and well, What I mean to ask is, have you brought any books with you? A rumpled scroll even? A scrap of scribbled on parchment? My apologies, literature is something of an obsession of mine, as well as a profession. Librarian Morin at your service, and this humble collection is known as the Cabinet of Curiosity. As your powers of perception have likely informed you, my colleagues and I are responsible for curating all manner of tomes, documents, and other vehicles for the written word. Like a book bus. As horrific as the loss of life and land wrought by the flood unquestionably was, the damage to recorded knowledge was no less catastrophic. We few do all we can to preserve what wisdom survived. But tell me, what brings you to the cabinet today? Looking for any title in particular? Mayhap a spot of academic research? Oh, so you've an interest in modern history. Splendid. A thorough review of recent events can often yield novel perspectives. I quite agree. If you would prefer something visual to accompany the account, then I think I have an illustrated history book for children somewhere. Just a moment and I'll fetch it for you. Yes, treat me as you would a child. Here we are. Would you like to pull up a chair, make yourself more comfortable? Ahem. On with the lesson, then. "100 years ago, or near enough not to matter, villains known as the Warriors of Light slew the Shadow Keeper, the Steward of Darkness. In the wake of this tainted deed, light began to pour into the world as if from unseen cracks, pooled and swelled without cease until the day an enormous blinding wave rose up and swept across our star. We called this calamity the Flood of Light. Everything it touched was leached of life and vigor, leaving naught behind but a luminous wasteland. Yet just when it seemed that all would be lost, a savior appeared before us. Oracle of Light, she stood twixt us approaching doom, and by her power did she stay the flood. Thus was Norvrant, and Norvrant alone spared the fate of erasure. Tragedy would, however, arrive in another form. From the blasted emptiness descended horrors of strange and terrible aspect to bedevil the few folk who survived. These sin-eaters were light incarnate, and their fulgent presence stole the night from Norvrant's sky. Even now they circle the remaining bastions of civilization, ever on the hunt for us, ever hungering for our flesh. And thus did the world become what it is. Should you ever wish to hear the tale again, I would be glad to retell it for you. No, it's convenient that, like, you send us to another world, and it's like, you know, but like only the small area of this world actually exists now, because the rest of it was kind of destroyed. And it's like, I understand we're like the last hope, but it's like, yeah, we don't really have to build a whole new world. We could just, like, this one little area of it will be fine. Or if you would rather I speak of other matters, that too would be my pleasure. I should be glad of the company. Your exchange with Morin has taught you about the Flood of Light. The world is in peril. They're called on Captain Planet. Yes, I'm a certain man. They have a lot. Still a lot to attune to. Trivium. We're gonna go hit them all up here. Done with this part. Okay, Universal. New to the city, friend? The spinning head and wide eyes give you away. Welcome, my name is Broggy, and I'm master of these markets. They gave the district another official title, but I'm not in the habit of using it. Too florid by half. In any case, our merchants stock a range of equipment from Mistal and for Mystal such as yourself, so find something in your size shouldn't be a problem. I'm sorry, did you say Mistal? I'm actually a Makote. Hi, is something wrong? See if we can straighten this out. See those two in front of us? The shorter one is a Yume. The taller one is an elf. 30 individual over there is a Galgant. Whilst the one with the horns is a Drawn. Then you have the large, scaly chaps with long tails and a knack for raising livestock. Those would be the Zoom. That would happen to the Zoom. Is apparently not the name you know them by. Now I'm curious to know which far-flung region you hail from. Ah, the same as the Exarch, eh? Well, that explains it. You don't get much further flung than that. We've had a few of your lot pass through in recent years, and despite their obvious learning, they've floundered over the simplest things. But not to worry, should you find yourself confused by the local language or customs, I'll be here to answer your question. Exchange with Bragi has taught you about the peoples of the first. I don't remember any of that. But maybe Yume. An elf. Hey. Platoon. Just we have them. I know that, but that's the one we're at. So just that one. Go that way. That's bored. And nutsy. Like them nutsies. Didn't look like I could earlier when I was. These doors open. Running in circles now. Vistaria. It's pretty. I don't know, is this our main city? So I have to think. Our main hub. Because there's like a big city and a small city. Like Ishgard and Idleshire, Rauger's reaching. To... Well, how did you fare? Did my colleagues help you form a clearer picture of this world and its people? Yes, it seems you were treated to a most thorough introduction. I understand it was something of a chore, but 'twas necessary that you grasp these things before we proceed. As for the Crystal Tower's origin, you may have noted that details were sparse. The structure is, in fact, the self-same one you know from the source, transported to the first in its entirety. My first attempt at breaching the boundaries between worlds, something of a trial run for your eventual crossing, and although I do not know which era I tore it from, I do know that its arrival served to set the wheels of fate in motion. Level 70, City of the First, complete. Level 70, Travelers of Norvrant. Crystal Exarch is finally ready to discuss the matter of your comrade's whereabouts. Done as I requested and learned something of the world in which you find yourself. Now it's time I fulfilled my half of the bargain and explained what has befallen your comrades. That is a conversation I would rather have in the privacy of my quarters. However, I must go on ahead to the tower and organize a few things, but I shall see that the guard knows to admit you. What will you say, the tower's gate lies open then? Just like that, then Graha Tia is... Well, yes, of course, it can be open and closed just like any other. Does that seem strange to you? I know not how the tower functioned in your time, but I assure you there is no danger of us being locked inside. Oh yeah, I've been in the Crystal Tower a few times. Okay, we need this, sir. Right. Lord. Upstairs. Being right there where I just got. All of them. Coastal Gate. Okay, let's... Arium Gatekeeper. Greetings, madam. The Exarch awaits you within. To the Crystal Tower. Everything now.
Welcome to the Ocular, my private study. We can speak here without fear of being overheard. I have much to explain, but the truths which I must touch upon in doing so would cause only distress and confusion to the people of this world. Pray keep that in mind. Now, I am sure you are desperate to know the fate of your fellow scions. To put it simply, they are here in the First.
Okay.
Their arrival, however, was not as recent as you may imagine. Here, time flows at a different pace from that of the Source. In the space of a single hour in your home world, an entire year might pass in the First, and the reverse could also be true. The pace fluctuates without rhyme or reason, and it cannot be predicted. That said, we seem to be entering a period of near equivalence, and thus, for the moment, you need not overly concern yourself with the passage of time.
Inconvenient.
As for your companions, however, Yustola and Urianger have dwelled here for 3 winters, all told, while Thancred's count stands at 5.
Their bodies are still back at the other ones. You leave our body back? I guess they'll answer it all.
Even our more recent arrivals, Alphino and Alize, have lived in the First for almost a year. My intention had been to summon only you, but the art of reaching across worlds has proven exceedingly difficult to master. Thus it was that my fumbling hand closed upon those to whom your fate is most closely bound as well.
These didn't get pulled.
As they were not the object of my summons, their transference was incomplete. Though they may appear to possess corporeal bodies, they are, in truth, merely spirits that one can see and touch. Consequently, while you yourself will be able to pass between worlds with relative freedom, they will not. Much as it grieves me, they are stranded here, unable to return.
Find a way to send them back. What have they been doing? Yeah, what have they been doing?
We spent every waking hour searching for a way to reverse the summoning. In the beginning, at least. As you may have surmised, however, our efforts met with little success. And then we all but abandoned the endeavor once Urianger shared with us the vision he had witnessed during his journey through the rift. In that chaotic no-man's land between realms, time and space warp and blend in unexpected ways. What Urianger saw was the future. That which would one day come to pass. In his vision of tomorrow, the first was rejoined with the source.
Okay. Good or bad?
This collision of worlds brought about the 8th umbral calamity and the deaths of countless multitudes.
Okay, so bad.
Amongst those who perished, Urianger clearly saw the fall of the Scion's mightiest champion. He watched you die.
Definitely bad.
And thus did the Scions embrace their exile, and began searching this world for a means to forestall the coming catastrophe in yours. Their souls are stranded in the first, yes, but they have fought on, desperate to save their home and you from destruction. Nor have their efforts been in vain, for it was they who finally established that the elimination of the Sin Eaters will indeed serve to prevent the calamity.
Okay, so we just have to kill a bunch of stuff. We're actually pretty good at that.
Considering these circumstances of our meeting, you would be forgiven for doubting my version of events. And so, before all else, I would suggest you track down your comrades and hear the tale from their lips. I shall of course be happy to assist in these reunions, and you need not make any decisions regarding your involvement until you are certain of where you stand. Meanwhile, I promise I will not rest until I have found a way to help your friends return home. What say you? Have I earned your trust for the moment, at least?
Don't have much of a choice, do we? For the moment. But I'll see you keep that promise, for want of a better choice. Here, I need to trust
Excellent.
somebody.
You will not regret this. With that settled, we shall have to see about getting you ready for the road. Traveling across the rift has no doubt left you weary. I will arrange for a room where you might rest in comfort. While it's being prepared, perhaps I can show you around.
Take me all to eat the great shards that I've already attuned to. Vistarium boasts a number of residential districts, but I have been informed that a room has just become available at the Pendants. Which, as it turns out, is perfect. Our path there will take us past the markets, and I was hoping to give you my own introduction to their wares. Come along.
This is the Musica Universalis, the commercial heart of the Crystarium. Aught you might need to prepare for your journeys can be purchased here. Ah, yes. You must be curious about the currency. Fear not. The gil you carry will serve you well enough. Each nation once minted its own coins, but 'twas all a jumbled mess following the flood. After much debate, the local merchants eventually elected to revert to the old ways, wherein a coin's value was decided by the worth of its metal. As for a unit of measurement, we agreed upon the term gil. A word borrowed from coins uncovered within the Crystal Tower here.
Okay.
And as our traders peddled their wares across the land, so too did our usage of gil become common practice.
They explain it.
From what your stola tells me, a standard coin from the source equates to exactly 1 gil here, or near enough not to matter. Our way of life has benefited greatly from the artifacts we recovered from the tower, some of which may be familiar to you. But I fear it would not be practical for us to provide everything to which you are accustomed. You shall need a means to access the commodities of your homeworld. Avan Kerm Sin?
Yes, I'm here! Of course I'm here! What amusements do you have for me today?
My dear Feo Ul, paragon of pixie kind. For you, I have the most vital task. This fine lady is a friend from a distant realm. And we have need of a means to ferry things back and forth from her home. Might you be able to assist us in this matter?
You came from beyond, didn't you? From beyond the rift? How wonderfully exciting! What a brave and reckless and marvelous thing you did! You've the heart of a pixie, you do. After careful consideration, I have decided to grant you my assistance. Make a pact with me and the fun can begin. But answer me this, traveler. Did your garments come with you when you crossed over? Your teeth? Your nails? Just as I thought! Then you've a good stout connection with your home through which all your belongings, great and small, may easily pass. From this moment forth I will be your Isne Fis, and you my Snay Yak. Like the branch which sprouts from the sapling, our bond will flow unbroken from one to the other. Raise your hand.
They're like giving an in-universe reason for not having to change stuff. I get it. Like, fine. Easily just be like, magic. Basically what they're doing, but they're giving a reason. More than most games would do. We have been isekai.
'Tis done. We are bound now, dearest sapling. Come then. Make your request. Tell me your desire. I wish to visit this world of yours.
Hey,
Mayhap a
listen.
message to your friends in the source to inform them of your safe arrival.
The message to Karu. To Cryo. Karu's the one that saw us pass out. It probably did.
Consider it done.
As you heard, that was Feo Ul of the Pixies. Their kind possess an affinity for magic akin to that of arcane beings. They rarely show themselves in populated areas, but Feo is insatiably curious even by pixie standards, and seems to have taken a liking to the Crystarium. Right, we were going to organize a room for you, weren't we? Come along.
Along. As a result of your pact with Feul, you now have access to delivery moogles, market boards, and summoning bells while in the first. Can do that mission. I'll be able to use any of it. Always like one of the last ones. Ah, there you are. I was just finalizing the matter of your accommodation. You'll have a private room here at the Pendants for the duration of your stay, to make use of as you see fit. When you are ready to retire, the manager will show you to your lodgings. Pray rest and recuperate, and we shall reconvene in the ocular anon. I believe that covers all of the practical concerns. Thank you for answering my call. We are denied the comforting blanket of night, but may peaceful dreams attend you nonetheless. Manager. Pleasure to meet you, miss, and welcome to your new home at the Pendants. Room is ready if you care to retire. Check it out. Probably looks like just every other inn. Bit more going on. Like a home base almost.
You?
I know you. You're the warrior of light from the source.
Warrior of Darkness. Who are you?
What? Did you just... You can hear me? Oh, gods, how long has it been? That was what I called myself in your world. The Warrior of Darkness. My real name is Ardbert. I used an alias in the source. A daft one, looking back.
Yeah.
If you recall my tale, it was my comrades and I who caused the flood. We thought our home doomed. And so we listened to the Ascians. Let them guide us to the source, and tried to hasten their goddamned ardor. I remember when we fell, defeated by you and yours. I remember our audience with Minfilia, how she listened to our pleas and returned our souls to the first. The flood was poised to swallow Norvrant. Minfilia and my friends, they surrendered what little they had left to hold it back. Just faded away, leaving me to bear witness. Tell me, do you know the year? How much time has passed since we caused the flood?
About 100 years.
100 100 years. 100 long years.
Ghost.
My hands find no purchase. My gestures catch no eye, and my pleas, be they whispered or screamed, reach not a single ear. I am a shade, cursed to do naught but drift.
Think of this, like caught between.
I feel as if I've been walking forever. I hardly noticed when my mind and body began to fray at the edges.
Like if his soul's caught between, couldn't he just do like the Asians and just take another body?
Then bang! My senses were sharp again. I felt like a fish being reeled in, and before I knew it, I found myself in this room. Why is it that you can see me? What are you even doing here, come to that? You were summoned to save the first. A waste of time. This world is beyond saving, like those who try to save it. Muddled as my mind may be, I've not forgotten that. But if fate has brought me to you, the one person in this God's-forsaken world who can see and hear me, then perhaps there is a reason I endured. If I can find out why I was left behind, then maybe I can bring this journey of mine to an end. Well, I'll be watching, Warrior of Light. But do me a favor. Be careful out there. This world has had its fill of heroes.
Running into all kinds of people. The Exarch awaits you within.
Ah, how did you find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest?
Oh no, thank you. Had a ghostly visitor.
I was not aware the room was haunted, and you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts. This map shows the lands of Norvrand, the only area to be spared the flood of light.
But like the map for the other world. So I guess the Crystal Tower, I guess like this is like Mordona, and it's like Ishgard, and it's like old it's purposely meant to be like that.
The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. To the north is the fairy kingdom of Ilmeg. That is where you'll find Urianger. To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Raktika. Your Stola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest.
So it's basically like where we came from.
Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium. Alphino is on Calusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Yulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphino journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alize, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Armarang. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alize felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe. So, will it be Calicia or Armarang? It matters not which you choose to visit first. Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount. Ah, but you must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of Sin Eaters.
Okay.
Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
So does it really matter which one we go to? Alphino or Alize? Same regardless? Yeah, I guess we can take either one. First order of business would be reunite with Alphino and Alize. In doing so, the predicament here in Norvant should be abundantly clear. For communications with this course, Vail will gladly serve as your messenger if needs be. However, you yourself should be capable of making the journey between. Device there will serve as a portal. Simply touching a hand to its surface will transport you to the location of the beacon I left at the base of the tower, in theory at least. Okay, so that portal right there take us back. So we can pick Alphino or Alize. I guess we'll go to Lim. I don't remember this.